Guys, is it time for another random visual novel read through? Uh, there is a lot of. Oh wow, there's a little Steam notification thing, but apparently I think I normally have it like have it on offline because I always keep getting these usual notifications. I don't really use Steam as much, other than if someone wants to like play some multiplayer shenanigans with me or something. But I don't really know any. I guess I am assuming that I'm expected to learn all of these, but I'm pretty sure I have like some GBF player base that would translate, but oh well. This is called Trick and Treat. Um, it's supposed to be really short. I don't know what it is all about other than the volume being really. Um, should I put? Yeah, halfway should be good enough. Let's see. Why is the screen like? I guess I'm assuming this screen was always like that too, but oh right, because I moved the because I moved the window part around, it made it so it's caused the screen to stretch. There we go. What is an extra? Oh, these are just the soundtrack. I think the website means it takes me to an official website, but can't read. Don't want to do that. Let me see here. There we go. So let's see what's all about. Whether it's actually a bit creepy or whatnot. I don't really expect much, considering that some visual novels are just part of like a shock value, if you ask me. The sound of our steps, combined with that of the occasional nocturnal animal, is the only thing we can hear. It's terribly dark in this place. The dense vegetation makes it impossible to see the sky or light from the moon. Why is it? I feel like these buttons made it look like it's huh. Really? I guess it's like that. I thought it was like whatchamacallit. Uh, I thought the screen was a bit off. It's terribly dark in this place. The dense vegetation makes it impossible to see the sky or light from the moon. Well, yes, it's dark out. You shouldn't be going out at a time like this. Our flashlights are the only things that light up our way. At times like this, one begs to not run out of battery. We walk without knowing what we are really looking for, or better said, for no reason. We are just a group of boys bored with our lives. Why am I not surprised? Trying to create a lasting memory of this night instead of just staying home doing nothing. Today is October 31st, All Hallows Eve, better known as Halloween. Three young men walked through a dark but up until now nothing special forest, me being one of them. We are doing it to prove our courage. It's too bad there isn't a girl here to see how brave we are. What the fuck? Seeing it like that, one could say this is a meaningless effort. For a moment, I stopped to look at my watch. It's 1:49 a.m. Yeah, you supposed. Well, why are you going out at a time like this? That means we have been walking aimlessly for more than 2 hours now. I am sure that many people would find a place like this terrifying, but once you get used to it, the fear disappears, making it feel like normal. What makes us afraid of the dark is that we cannot know what hides in it, what lurks in the shadows. But this is clearly an empty darkness. At that moment, I sigh, feeling how tired my legs are. What is the point of being here? Clearly, we had already demonstrated what we wanted. It would be best to return. I should tell them. I was about to speak when suddenly the atmosphere in the forest becomes strange. Suddenly, a cold chill runs through my body. It was like any other chill, except it was not going away. For no reason, the air's temperature dropped from one second to the other, so much so my breath becomes visible, turning into mist. It doesn't end there. The air is now filled with a rotten smell just a little short from being unbearable. Images of worms and flies soon appear in my mind, giving me a really unpleasant feeling. We all stop at that moment. What's happening? I asked, confused while turning to look at my friends. By the expression on their faces, it was easy to know that they were just as lost as I was. It was then that we heard footsteps nearby that did not come from any of us. We all got dead quiet after that. Okay, so the main dude is with his friends, just going around exploring the forest, just for, I don't know, curiosity. I don't know if it was out of fear or to check if it was not a mistake, but we stayed motionless, like statues, without making a noise, just looking at each other's faces, wondering the same thing. What was happening? As if I could know. We heard the steps again. They clearly belonged to a human, or at least to a large animal, but there is something strange about them. It sounds as if the person walked dragging one foot. Just thinking about it made me shiver. Damn, why is this happening? It makes no sense. We should have returned home before, but now it's too late to regret it. I have the feeling that we are being stalked by someone. I wouldn't be surprised if there would be a serial killer in the forest, one of those generic moments in horror movies. The strange footsteps stop, but I'm still feeling the presence nearby. I don't know where it is, but I know that it's looking at me. That cursed thing is looking at me. My heart is beating anxiously. It's almost as if my body was telling me to get out of there. But strangely, my friends seemed unable to perceive it. It seems that it's gone. It must have been just an animal, said one of them, convinced that we were safe. I would like to believe that too. We had a sigh of relief, however, bad luck would soon strike us again. Unexpectedly, the forest becomes darker than before in just a blink of an eye. But that wasn't the fault of the forest, but of our flashlights, which went out. Of the three, only one, mine, was still working. What's going on? Did the batteries die? Asked one of them, scared, while they both beat them desperately as if that was going to revive them. I can't believe I can't blame them. The idea of walking in the darkness was not pleasant for anyone. But after a few moments we had no choice but to resign ourselves to that. Once more the sound of our footsteps is heard, but the silence is different now. We are not quiet because we have nothing to say, but because we are afraid. We continue walking despite the fear that invades us, visibly is almost zero, but we have no choice. In theory, we were walking back to looking for the exit, but I cannot remember anything of this forest. We could be walking in circles and would never notice it until it is too late. I hate the thought of it. I just want to get out of here. No words. Suddenly, my thoughts are silent. We hear the footsteps of someone or something. Once more, the three of us become statues awaiting the presence to go. I hold my breath while feeling my heart beating anxiously. Damn, get away from here and leave us alone. Unexpectedly, the steps are heard closer. This time, they do not disappear, but rather come at us. I can't stand it. Desperately, I move my flashlight everywhere, looking for the author of those footsteps, hoping for the light to reveal their identity and erase our fears. Nothing. 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 Is that all there is around here? Just empty air? My anxiety grows with each failed attempt. I refuse to believe that it was a ghost. Suddenly, when I move the flashlight again, I see a silhouette. I could not distinguish what it was, but for a moment the light revealed something. Quickly, I point to the same place only to discover it was gone. I hold my breath anxiously. It was not an illusion. I am sure that I saw something. It was then that I hear something nearby. Without even thinking, I aim the light towards that place. What I found leaves us paralyzed with an expression of disbelief on our faces. It's a cat. It is a white cat with eyes of an intense red, which stands before us. Her look is not the friendliest to say something. Somehow I get the feeling it's a female cat. Suddenly she let out a thunderous meow that leaves us terrified. It sounded more like a lion roaring than a simple cat. Is this a demonic cat? The echo of her meow is heard throughout the forest, making it sound more sinister than it should be. It was then that suddenly an inexplicable force hits us three. I fall to the ground, and little by little my eyelids close. The fatigue becomes unbearable. I lose consciousness on the ground of the forest without knowing what was going to happen with me. Interlude. Before night falls. Do I? Oh, are we back home? It said prelude. I assume like prelude means like before the stuff goes down. It is a day like any other, so normal that it was almost painful. The only special thing that could be said about it is that it's October 31st. Far were the memories when I was a kid and went out with my friends to ask for sweets from house to house. Just remembering it made me sigh. I feel nostalgic. Some things were better when I was a child, or at least it seems like that. There were some who had good costumes, whether of superheroes or monsters or cosplay. My friends and I, on the other hand, had to use our imagination. Creativity was our costume, you could say, no matter how funny could sound. I remembered that my mother once painted red my face and told me, "You will be the devil." But it seems only she saw it that way. When we went from home to home, everyone said I was the tomato man. Just look, oh god. I guess they're not wrong. I mean, you got, you got, you gotta realize. I mean, you gotta understand when it comes to costumes, you gotta really put in the detail and effort. But those things didn't matter to me since we always had a good time. If I asked for candy now, even if I had the best costume, I'm sure no one would give me anything. Except perhaps a scolding for acting like a child when I'm 17 years old. Well, you know what? Most adults would say, like, it's like apparently you're too. When you grow older, you can't really get free candy. I think, or you're too old to like celebrate Halloween or some shit like that. I don't know. Although they could be wrong. I don't know. But anyway, I can't stay in the past. I must live in the present, no matter how little exciting that might be. Back to reality. We are a group of friends who don't have any plans for today. We are still not old enough to go to a disco, and I doubt guys as us would have any luck in that environment. The other option would be to go to a party, meet girls, and have fun. Well, that's how parties would work, right? Everything perfect, except that nobody has invited us. Not being popular has its disadvantages. Hey Axel, let's have a couple matches. What do you say? My friend Steven called my attention while playing with the game console. Rush Red. I believe that's what the game is called. A fast and quite complicated fighting game for me. I would normally agree to play with him, but for some reason I don't feel in the mood today. No, man, not even for video games. I have no desire to play now. I replied with discouragement. I almost feel bad for doing it. Boring. The AI is no rival for me, Steven said with confidence. That you're playing on normal difficulty does not help your argument. True. I don't feel like losing, but if you want, you can challenge. But if you want, you can challenge to Alfred. I said, leading the attention to my other friend. I don't know how to play that, answered Alfred, doubting for a second. He is sitting behind the PC, but it seems that he isn't doing anything interesting. But there are many interesting things to do on the fucking PC. The hell? The screen only shows a lot of text. I think he is in Wikipedia. What a way to break the fourth wall there. Hey, don't you have something more fun to do? I asked with discouragement, without even thinking about what he was reading. Alfred looks at me surprised. The actual problem of society is that people are not interested in discovering their history. He is one of those pseudo intellectuals always looking for any rare information to appear smarter than others. When we forget our past mistakes, we are doomed to repeat them, he added later. What are you talking about? This village is small and its story is not interesting at all. Nothing outside of the normal has ever happened in it. Alfred laughs mockingly after hearing that. Your ignorance is worthy of praise. He pauses, filling his chest with pride. The very fact it is a small town is the reason it's full of mysteries. Did you know that 20 years ago on this date a man disappeared? So, what about it? I ask without being impressed or even interested in the least. Things like that happen all the time in all places. As I thought, you don't know the history despite living in this very place, Alfred said while adjusting his glasses in an arrogant gesture. Oh, one of those people. Oh, God. There is a legend behind the disappearance. That is what I was reading. After listening to him, I looked back at the computer screen with curiosity. It's then that I noticed that it was not Wikipedia, but some other page. Come on, read this and learn a little, Alfred said, inviting us to read what was on the screen. Both Stephen and I moved closer to read it. Town of Abingdon, Oxfordshire Country, 1994. I came to this town with only 4,000 inhabitants to support them in an investigation. Truth is that never in my life have I seen something this strange. I won't say your typical detective-ish nonsense that I have seen thousands of strange things in my life. I've seen many crimes, yes. Some difficult to solve, but all of them were human. Even if you don't know how they managed to perpetuate the crime, you know that they are people like anyone else. In this case, I don't think I'm able to say the same thing. Truth is that I can't understand what happened. I was called for the disappearance of a man named Matthew Graham, 23 years, single. The last time he was seen, he was returning home from a Halloween party. Oh, what a coincidence. He had drank alcohol but was still sober, or at least that's what witnesses said. Anyway, this is not something which can be explained with a simple drunkenness. He apparently got lost on the way home and decided to enter the forest called Oakwood. It had rained yesterday, so the ground was wet and muddy. We could easily find his traces, which were leading deep inside the forest. Is that where Axel and his friends went to? Fucking Oakwood? Deep inside the forest? Apparently, he walked for 3 hours before stopping. I say stop, but the truth is, we don't know what happened then. The tracks suddenly ended up in a clearing in the forest. That's all. There was no evidence of struggle, no other trace or pieces of clothing on the ground. There was no blood, no more footprints, or anything else. The depth of his last footprints and the position they were in indicated that he was still walking. At no point he stood still. It was as if he had vaporized in the air, with all his clothes in the middle of his walk. Obviously, I can't believe such a thing, but I can't give another explanation. The only thing I remember is that near the footprints I sensed a faint smell of rot. However, there were no animal corpses nearby. It is ridiculous to think he suddenly started to decay and became earth. In the end, the case was closed in just 3 days. With no evidence of any kind, we couldn't say anything but that he decided to escape from the village. However, while officially there was no more to do, I couldn't sleep in peace. Thinking about what could have happened to him took away my sleep. In my mind, I thought all sort of theories, like maybe everything was a plan developed by Matthew, but in the end they all seemed impossible. I decided to investigate more on the issue. I searched the town for similar stories, and to my surprise I found 4 more, all young men. The story was always the same. They walked into the forest alone, disappearing without trace. Even more curious is that all of them disappeared on the same date, October 31st. But there is more. A detail that completely eliminates the possibility that there is a killer or kidnapper behind this, and that is the separation of the years. Roger Bacon. what a what a bit of a common generic last name there, Bacon. I mean, Bacon is pretty good. So, disappeared in 1924. Mitchell Smith disappeared in 1867. Jason Black disappeared in 1813. And the worst of all, Oswald Taylor disappeared in 1707. Wow. We really be going back a few hundred years. Is this really the legend be foretold? That we shouldn't be allowed to go in that kind of forest? It simply couldn't be possible. My curiosity led me to dig deeper. I thought that the answer may be in the past of the forest. It was then when I discovered that what seemed to be a simple and boring forest actually hid a great story. Before it was called Oakwood or Oaks Forest, the place was called Witchwood. The word witch was huge similarity with witch, taking into consideration that it is an old name and language changes over time. That indicates that it was the forest of witches. Apparently, more than 400 years ago, the people of the village believed witches lived in the woods. Unfortunately, almost all the information is already lost. They were stories told in voice, without a properly written record. I just know that with the change of religion to Christian, people stopped seeing the witches with good eyes and began to hunt them. Apparently, the last one before her death cast a curse on the forest, which even today should continue to exist. Anyway, obviously I cannot accept something like that as the answer. In the end, I have no other choice than accepting that one of them escaped from the village, using the legend of the forest to make it look like it was something supernatural. Well, maybe not only there was a cat or demonic cat, maybe there was a witch somewhere in the forest that's hiding there. This is gonna be a bit of a meme there, isn't it? Interesting story. I didn't know that such a story was hiding in this town, I said, honestly surprised. Even if it is a lie, it managed to hold my interest. Wait, there is something more, Alfred said at the same time he scrolls through the comments. We read what is written there. A couple of comments call our attention. Both of them talk about some creature. At that time, they felt a horrible fear for what could happen to them. Well, the two comments share great similarities. But they could have been written by the same person. There are many others that deny it. Looks like many people went to the forest because of the legend but couldn't find anything. I thought that you only read these things to look more cool before the girls, replied Stephen as a joke. Oh, bit of a interesting. Alfred giggles with a little shame. Partially, yes. He admitted it. That was a secret everybody silently knew. Well, well, now we have an activity for tonight, Stephen said at the same time he makes a face overflowing with enthusiasm. What? I asked, completely lost. I thought we were just killing time. Simple. Let's go to that forest. Yep. God damn it. It is all part of Stephen's idea. But why do you want to go to the forest, though? Stephen replied without hesitation. He seemed really fascinated by the story. Are you insane? Said Alfred, unable to believe what he just heard. You only needed to look at his face to know he did not like the idea. Despite everything you've heard, you want to go? Of course. It would be a test of courage among us three, replied Stephen, full of confidence, perhaps too much. He should relax a bit. Don't tell me you're afraid. I know, why should I be afraid? Answered Alfred. At the same time, he folds his arms, making a false gesture of security. It's more than obvious that you're afraid, Alfred, almost as much as when you had to talk with the girl. And what about you, Axel? Don't tell me you won't come. Suddenly, Stephen asks me, at the same time looking at me mockingly. Don't tell me you want to be the chicken of the group. I hate that tone of voice he used. I will never give you that, I said without thinking, showing a confident smile and look. Man, you have a bit of a questionable group of friends. Why would you want to even go? Why would you plan something like this? Or leave it to the fucking mystery group and shit. Showing a confident smile and look. Well, let's not say more. Take your coats, backpacks, flashlights, and some food. We are going to the forest, Stephen said, full of energy. Yeah, we three said in unison as if we were going to have some kind of private party, not really knowing what we were doing or what we were going to find. Oh, God. This is just going to be great, isn't it? Uh, hold on. Gotta take a drink before my throat tightens up. 2:13 a.m. Oh, we're back here. I awake, completely confused, not knowing how much time had passed. My head hurts like hell, but I can't blame it. Fortunately, the pain goes away quickly just as my confusion. Soon I come back to my senses. My flashlight is lying on the ground, shining towards the empty air. I immediately pick it up. It was my only protection against the darkness that surrounds me. Then I remembered that Stephen and Alfred were with me. Stephen! Alfred, can you hear me? Without thinking, I screamed their names in the dark, while trying to find them with my flashlight, but there is no trace of them. They are gone. Where the hell are they? And what the heck just happened? I really don't understand anything. Shit, we should have stayed at home. This is not a proof of courage. We could be in danger. Well, this is all Steven's fault. You know, if anything, oh boy, this is I. Why does it always again with these same ass fucking stories? Could be in danger. I have to find them. 2:19 a.m. Oh, 2 minutes later. Little time has passed since I started to look for my friends, and I already can't stand this place. I'm going crazy in this forest. The darkness that covers it is unnatural. It is a darkness that steals your own sanity, replacing it with anxiety. To make it worse, the air is damp and cold as in winter, carrying a strong rot smell, as if there were corpses of animals hidden throughout the forest. The atmosphere in this place is oppressive. With every step you take, it makes you more uncomfortable. Since I started to look for my friends, I felt that something is watching me, but there is nothing. I sigh with my voice full of frustration. I just want to get out of here. I continue walking devoid of any hope. No matter where I look or how much I walk, I find nothing. I cannot even hear the sounds of animals. Excuse me. Rather, it seems they are already dead and rotting. No, I have to calm myself, I said to myself. I stopped for a moment to rest. I breathe deeply, but the rotten air of this place does me no good. Immediately, I start to cough as if I had something stuck in the throat. Shit, shit, shit! What am I going to do? This cursed forest seems endless, and even if by miracle I could escape, I cannot abandon Stephen and Alfred. I'm really screwed up. Again, I sigh, feeling on the verge of tears. My frustration is building up, but I have to do my best to keep calm. If I fall into despair, and there is no doubt I won't be joining the list of missing persons. In the end, I decided to keep walking. Step by step, I should get somewhere. At least I was convinced that staying in the same place would not do me any good, even if it was only to deceive myself, feeling that I am doing something. I wanted to continue walking. Time passes without any changes. Only the sound of my footsteps can be heard, knowing that as soon as you stop, you will be surrounded by a dead silence is a good incentive to keep walking. But my legs were already hurting. Suddenly, I hear a crack at my feet. Instantly, I take a step back and look below to see what made that sound. What is this? I whispered to myself, surprised, discovering that I had stepped on animal bone. I believe that it's from an animal, although I do not rule out the possibility that it belongs to a person. But for my own good, I prefer not to think about that. An expression of anguish is drawn on my face. It is best to ignore it. I have to keep walking. Well, you stepped on something and then it was like, well, it is definitely a bone. I mean, could be worse, right? You just step on like an actual corpse of the part. Suddenly, my flashlight reveals something. Without hesitation, I point towards there again. Oh, it's a cat. It's the same cat. Only to realize with the surprise that is the white cat. The one from before which made that awful meow, but this time I find it lying on the ground. It appears to be fainted and is wounded. Then what should I do? Uh, can I just save? Um, ignore the cat, pick her up. At least it's giving me, at least this is the actual game. I mean, at least there is actual gameplay in which where you can just choose whether to be immoral or just be moral. Let's pick the cat up. It is best to continue without waking her. That cat is dangerous. It's her fault that I ended up in this place and my friends are missing. But even knowing that, for some strange reason, I can't help but feel sorry for her. Even if it is unnatural, it is still an animal. I then bend down to see her closer. She is unconscious and there is a thin line of blood coming from her mouth. I'm a real idiot, I said to myself at the same time I cleaned the blood from her mouth with the handkerchief that I had with me. Fortunately, she doesn't wake up. I then close her mouth, making her appearance a little better. Now she seemed to be peacefully sleeping. Well, it seems I have done a good deed. Wait, there was blood on from the cat? Was the cat wounded? I mean, I guess when you do a really extremely loud, piercing screech, then, it kind of strains your vocal a bit, but I guess. After a long sigh, I decide to pick her up carefully. I don't know what the powers of this cat are, but if she brought me here, maybe she can return me to my world. With her in my arms, I decide that the best thing I can do is to continue walking. 2:31 a.m. Again, I find myself in the dark forest, walking aimlessly. Only moving forward, but it didn't seem I was getting somewhere. In my arms, I carry the cat, which sleeps soundly. Come here. Here you'll be safe. I suddenly stop. It was probably easy to see the disbelief on my face at that moment. It's that voice again. I whispered to myself with no one to listen to me. Shortly after I found the cat, a mysterious voice appeared in my mind. It is a feminine voice, soft and gentle, as if it belonged to a princess from a fairy tale, but I can't trust it. I'm really curious what happens if I leave the cat alone. But I guess I guess because I picked up the cat, then the one other character be revealed to be like, oh, you found my cat, and then I'll get compensated for my efforts or some shit, as if it belonged to a princess from a fairy tale, but I can't trust it. Am I really going crazy, or is it this forest that doesn't make any sense? I don't know, but I don't like any of the two options. I then feel the cat move in my arms. I look down at her confused just to see how she opens her red eyes suddenly. Uh-oh, is it a bad thing? I become quiet at that instant. For a moment, the two stayed motionless, staring into the eyes of the other. The red eyes of the cat are disturbing to me, but also there is something fascinating about them, something that attracts me. I lose myself in her eyes as if hypnotized, until suddenly she jumps with the intention of scratching my face. My reflex is pushing her at the same time I jump back, turning my head to dodge her claws. I manage to dodge her attack, but in the process I drop my flashlight. I panicked and acted clumsily. The flashlight falls near me, lighting up a tree in the vicinity. As soon as it left my hands, I remember how dense this abnormal darkness is. I quickly pick it up, not even thinking before taking action. I then light the place where the cat was, only to discover she had arched her back angrily, as if she feared an attack from me. Those red eyes stare at me, shining with the light of the flashlight as if they were jewels, reflecting a fearsome hatred and rejection towards me. My body freezes after seeing them. I can't even think. Oh no! But you can't even leave the fucking animal alone. It looks like see the this is what happens when you show sympathy to a cat, even though it's now angry at me for some reason. The cat then lets out a thunderous meow, similar to the one before but weaker, although not any less frightening. There is no doubt there is something wrong with that animal. It must be cursed. Everything is her fault. She must be some kind of evil spirit, a pet of the witches. I feel how panic seizes me. My heart beats quickly, begging me to do something. My mouth is dry, and my forehead covered with cold sweat. What should I do? Oh, really? It's giving me this kind of dialogue? Holy shit. Uh, okay. Hmm. So if the cat looks threatening but is making a bit of a quieter meow, uh, then it looks like it does is not threatening. So it looks like it could be a possibility of confronting the cat. But being cautious, being the anime called the cautious hero, you would escape. But I already saved it. I mean, hmm. Let's try escaping. It is best for me to escape from this cursed cat. I made a mistake by bringing her with me. In which that cat only brings problems. I don't feel very sure about that voice, but perhaps it can guide me to the exit. It sounds kind, and I certainly don't want to stay with this animal. With that in mind, I try to move forward, but the cat blocks my path. No matter how hard I try, she moves faster than me, showing me her claws and fangs furiously as if preparing to attack me. My instinct tells me that it would be better to not go one step further. I don't know what she can do, but that cat is dangerous. Suddenly, the cat begins to meow thunderously, almost making me deaf. My heart skips a beat with each of them, as if I were hearing a wild beast roar furiously. My breathing becomes agitated. Those meows are wrecking my nerves. I have no other way out. I don't care about the voice anymore. All I want is to lose that cat from sight. So, not wasting a second more, I start to run in the opposite direction, begging she was not following me. I run through the forest, not looking back, forgetting about everything except my desire to get away from her. I have no idea where I'm going or how long it's been since I started to run, but I don't care. My lungs burn, and my heart beats anxiously, begging me for a rest. But I cannot give myself that luxury. Stronger than the pleas of rest for my body are the pleas from my soul crying, terrified, asking me to continue running until I can't anymore. Sometimes I hear the strange voice again sounding in my head, but whenever it happens, the echo of the cat's meows are heard throughout the forest, freezing my blood again and reminding me that I cannot stop. I feel sorry for the voice, but I can't answer your call. I'm so desperate that more than 3 times I've fallen flat to the ground, and many more times hurt with the branches of trees. But that pain doesn't stop me. I'll keep running until my legs can't go one single step further. 2:57 a.m. I don't know for how long I have been running, but for some minutes I haven't heard any of them, neither the voice nor the meows, much to my relief. Finally, I stop, resting my hands on my knees and feeling on the verge of fainting. I breathe, using my mouth, trying to fill my lungs with as much air as I can, while my legs hurt as if they had been hammered mercilessly. But this pain does not bother me because I finally feel safe. Suddenly, I look up only to find something that fills me with joy. I see the exit of the forest. I did it. I escaped this demonic forest. I didn't become another victim of the disappearances. Just thinking about it almost brings tears to my eyes. Axel! Axel! Suddenly, I hear someone calling my name, but it isn't any strange voice. It's the voices of my friends who are looking for me. Hey, over here! I shout without hesitation, with a bit of difficulty because of my shortness of breath. Soon they found me and impatiently run towards me. Where were you? The worry was killing us, Stephen said with a face that I don't remember having ever seen before. Before answering, I take a deep breath. Inside the forest, I couldn't find the exit. That's strange. After that hit us, we both woke up out of the woods. We thought that you'd be close, but we couldn't find you anywhere, explained Alfred, who also looks at me with great relief on his face. And you didn't try to find me in the forest? I said, feeling a little annoyed because they didn't go to save me as great friends. Instantly, both Stephen and Alfred shake their heads in denial. I didn't want to go back in, Alfred said, almost eating nails if I'm imagining it. Me neither, after seeing that demonic cat no. Also, we had hopes that you would be outside just as we were. I sigh after hearing them, but I soon forget my annoyance. Well, I really can't blame you. The most important thing is that we are all safe. Yes, but that was somewhat terrifying, confessed Stephen with a pale face. After that roar, I didn't know what was going to become of us. I was about to tell them about all I had to go through, but just before saying a word, I changed my mind. They didn't need to know. The important thing is that we escaped and nobody got hurt. What? Now is the game about an end already? We're about 43 minutes in. Well, I think we had enough of this test of courage. You should better get back home, I said, looking horribly tired. Without hesitation, both of them responded with a nod. After that, everyone started to walk back home without looking back. Despite everything, I have to say that our main goal was fulfilled. We had a memorable night. The legend is true. Now I know it. Finn. The game just ends like that. All because we escaped from the demonic cat. Oh, God. Oh, dialogue choices of taking care of the cat and then we escaped. I thought there would be like, oh, the some some mysterious witch girl gonna like, stop Axel in his path and then he gets destroyed. No, he escapes just like that. And then everything just go on with their normal day. Uh I think we're done from here. Anyway, there are dialogue choices I gotta look through. I did have these two to save, so I'll go back at some point. But hey, next part, let's try to mess around with the game a bit. like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.